Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Scott Selections here for Thursday, September 10th. We're getting to today's play that a quick recap of what happened yesterday. We ended up picking up a loss with the Tampa Bay Lightning over 3 goals, which was available on DraftKings at minus 117. They scored a goal in the first period, and then unfortunately they did not score for roughly the next 2 periods before scoring with 7 seconds left, which is even more unfortunate because there wasn't enough time for the Islanders to pull the goalie, so we couldn't get an empty net opportunity. But either or, we'll look to bounce back with a winner here on Thursday. It's been a little bit of a cold run. But you know what happens when you're in the betting industry, and we'll look to bounce back moving forward. A pretty interesting betting card, though, in comparison to the usual amount of NBA games alongside some NHL. You now have one NBA game tomorrow, along with college football, as you have Miami taking on UAB. You also have the start of the NFL season, as you have the Texans taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. But for the play of the day, we're going to be looking at the NBA and the lone matchup, and it will be between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Houston Rockets for Game 4 of their respective series. And in this one, we like the under here, which is available on DraftKings at minus 108. So the over-under here is at 220.5. Play that is going to be on DraftKings under 220.5, which is available on DraftKings at minus 108. A couple reasons why I like the under in the spot. First of all, it seems like Houston's offense has been kind of figured out by Los Angeles. They scored 109 points in the second game of the series, 102 in the third game. But the thing you have to keep in mind is that the under has hit in 2 of the first 3 games of the series, and the only time that a game went over, it ended up reaching 226 in Game 2, and a lot had to go well for that game to go over. Los Angeles ended up shooting 56+% from the floor. They shot 44% from 3. Meanwhile, the Rockets ended up making 22 3-pointers. So a lot had to go right, and this game still only went over by about 6 points. Or if you compare the other 2 games in the series, especially Game 3, from what we saw, especially with Rondo back and how he has become a seriously important piece for the Lakers. Great defensively, as everybody knows. Houston only scored 102 points, and if you look at the numbers, they really struggled offensively as they ended up only scoring. They only hit 12 threes, so which was kind of just showing how well the Lakers were doing at forcing them off the three-point line. The Lakers shot 55% from the floor. Houston shot roughly 47%, which at first glance seems like that would be a pretty high-scoring game, but it wasn't. It only led to 214. And the Lakers have done a really good job of keeping Houston out of its comfort zone offensively. They're great at getting back in transition. They force Houston to play in the half court, and Houston has not been able to break down the Lakers defensively, especially with Anthony Davis clogging up the middle in case anybody does get by their perimeter defenders. But the thing about this matchup is that I think the pace benefits the under. Houston and the Lakers so far in the series have played a lot of half-court sets. The Lakers, people might think with LeBron and Anthony Davis, they love to go up-tempo. They love to, play in transition. Occasionally they do, but for the most part, they're mostly a half-court team, and they rely on pick and rolls with LeBron and Anthony Davis, and that's kind of how they get most of their offense. Whereas Houston, they tend to like to play in transition, but the Lakers have done a really good job of getting back, and they force Houston to play 5-on-5, which forces Houston to eat up a ton of seconds on the shot clock as Harden dribbles along with Westbrook in roughly the same spot before eventually trying to break down the defense to kick it out for a 3. But based on what you've seen lately out of these two teams, seems like Houston's offense is a little bit broken right now, especially in this matchup, and they have struggled a lot in the half court. Meanwhile, the Lakers are content to play at that slow pace as well, which I think explains why you already have seen some money coming on the under, as it has already gone from 220.5 to 220, even in some spots. Expect that line to continue dropping. But for the sake of the current number and the current form of both teams and how the series has progressed, I think this total is still too high. And for that reason, the play of the day for Thursday, September 10th is going to be on the Lakers and Rockets under 220.5, which is available on DraftKings at minus 108. That's been the installment of Scott Selections. Good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.